It's not just tourism, but it's also technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation. So in this panel, we'll discuss opportunities, challenges, and strategic actions needed to make this vision become reality. And to start, I would like to introduce and invite our panelists to quickly introduce themselves before we start the first questions. Would you like to go, Sean?
Yeah, testing. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sean. I'm the managing partner for Dsac Global. We are a market entry expansion platform based out of Singapore. We have 6 countries. We focus a lot in ASEAN, namely Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, and also we have a South Korea office. Yep, thank you.
So hi everyone. So my name is Võ Đức Anh. I am a Deputy Director of Da Nang Innovation Startup Support Center. So my main mission is responsible for helping for the startup ecosystem in Da Nang City. So we are from the government. So that is our mission. I think is very important to decide to the success of the startup ecosystem in the next time. That's all. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm April Ongvanio from Quest Ventures. So quite familiar, I think we've spoken with our managing partner, but I look after ESG, looking at sustainability, but also the market in the Philippines.
Hi everyone, you can call me TY. I'm one of the managing partners of Thrive. We're an early stage VC covering Southeast Asia. We've deployed about $40 million into 23 companies, one of which is based in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. I am looking to do more investments across the region, including Vietnam, and I think I met some pretty cool startups earlier, so thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Chương. I'm program manager of Swift AP in Vietnam, in Da Nang. Let me correct that before I vice chairman and CEO of Da Nang Business Incubator, but after that I quit. I moved to Swift AP to support larger for the ecosystem. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Chris, and actually I'm playing quite a different role regarding Da Nang as well. So represent the Sandbox, which is one of the biggest gamified metaverse platform in the world. And I'm also with anh Đức Anh for the Metaverse Village under TechFest as well. And we plan to do a lot of things for Da Nang in the next few months as well.
Thank you. So the first question I would like to ask is, what do you see as the biggest challenges that the startup ecosystem in Da Nang has to face? So, we talk a lot about advantages and opportunities in the previous panel and throughout the whole day. But what are the challenges? Let's get real here. Yes, I would like to invite anh Đức Anh from the perspective of the government. What do you think?
So I will speak in Vietnamese. So all of you can ping your headset to understand. Chúng tôi là cái cơ quan hỗ trợ khởi nghiệp của thành phố Đà Nẵng, thì chúng tôi thường xuyên giữ cái mối liên hệ và chặt chẽ với các bạn startup, và chúng tôi hàng năm chúng tôi đều làm các cái gọi là survey, khảo sát để nhận được cái feedback, và chúng tôi đồng hành với tất cả các hoạt động của các bạn khởi nghiệp. Thì chúng tôi nhận thấy là trong thời gian qua thì chúng tôi cũng đã đạt được nhiều thành tựu. Tuy nhiên thì chúng tôi cũng nhìn nhận thẳng thực tế là chúng tôi có một trong những điểm yếu rất là lớn đối với cái hệ sinh thái khởi nghiệp của thành phố Đà Nẵng. Đấy là cái thị trường vốn cho startup. Đấy là vì sao mà chúng tôi quyết tâm làm cái Davos ngày hôm nay. Hầu hết tất cả ở Việt Nam, các bạn biết hầu hết 3 phần các quỹ ở Việt Nam đều nằm ở thành phố Hồ Chí Minh và Hà Nội. Ở Đà Nẵng thì cái lượng quỹ và nhà đầu tư tinh thần thì rất là ít, gần như không đủ số lượng để có thể hấp thụ hết được cái lượng startup của các bạn. Và 10 năm nay thì trong hệ sinh thái khởi nghiệp thì các bạn vẫn thường tranh luận với nhau rằng là con gà quả trứng đấy. Là startup bảo là chúng tôi không thể tăng trưởng được vì không có quỹ. Còn ở góc độ nào đấy thì quỹ bảo Đà Nẵng không có nhiều startup nhiều và chất lượng thì chúng tôi tới Đà Nẵng làm gì? Thì ngày hôm nay chúng tôi sẽ làm một cái kiểu nó hơi khác một chút. Đấy là chúng tôi sẽ dùng cái phương pháp là mời các quỹ lớn nhất và có uy tín nhất sẽ về đây, và chúng ta sẽ được tiếp cận và mở ra một cái cơ hội mới. Và chúng tôi thấy rằng cái thị trường vốn, tại vì công nghệ và tài chính nó sẽ hai mặt của vấn đề. Nếu mà chúng ta chỉ giỏi công nghệ không thì chúng ta chỉ là đơn thuần là tech thôi, nhưng mà ta không có tài chính để đẩy nó lên ấy, thì không thể nào trở thành những startup lớn được. Cho nên là tôi thấy rằng cái thị trường vốn và tài chính ấy, là nó rất là quan trọng cho sự thành bại của các startup về lâu dài. Chính vì thế chúng tôi nhìn thấy cái điểm yếu và chúng tôi quyết tâm phải làm nó, và trong thời gian tới chúng tôi sẽ làm tốt hơn nữa. Và nhân đây thì chúng tôi muốn chia sẻ thông điệp này để mong tất cả các cái quỹ đầu tư, các đối tác, các tổ chức hỗ trợ khởi nghiệp trong nước và quốc tế đồng hành, mang lại thêm nhiều nguồn lực tài chính về cho thành phố Đà Nẵng. Vì chúng tôi có một sứ mệnh là Đà Nẵng phải là trung tâm khởi nghiệp quốc gia theo cái khát vọng của Đà Nẵng, cũng như là cái nhiệm vụ của chính phủ và trung ương giao cho thành phố. Và muốn thế thì chúng tôi phải vươn tầm ra. Vâng, xin hết ạ.
Thank you. Chris, as an entrepreneur yourself and as a venture builder, do you resonate with this? Or do you have anything else that you think that, is one of the biggest challenges that is stopping entrepreneurs in Da Nang to go bigger than the local market?
I think, carry on some ideas from the previous panel. To have a successful startup ecosystem, there's a lot of component to it. I think Dick mentioned capital, which is very critical, but I think especially in the blockchain space and some of the emerging tech, I look more into the builder component of the ecosystem, because even if capital is there, the VC visit and everything, if you don't have enough builder and you don't have enough the crowd running around in the city, start building this, start building that, you don't have that momentum to keep the ecosystem going. And actually right now for Vietnam, we are in a very lucky position, because right now there's a lot of technology that, like I think V mentioned in the previous panel, that you can basically stay in Vietnam, build something and contribute and push it outside of Vietnam. It's quite there, especially for I think AI and then blockchain in a sense. I think that's why for the past few years, blockchain, especially for Vietnam, has made a lot of good noise in the region, because the product itself is very easy to go to market as long as it's have market fit and everything. So the biggest challenge would be, do you create enough, activities and playground so that the student, when they study here, a lot of good talent in Da Nang, a lot of good talent. Will they choose to stay back? Will they choose to stay here and do some work? So that's why it's very important to have enough, potential job for them to be in Da Nang and stay here. And when you have that momentum, more startup will try to come here and set up their base, and then the capital and everything will come as well. But of course, some of it have to do it in a little bit like parallel for sure.
Right. You brought up a very interesting point about, startup ecosystem builder, and we have a builder here from Swiss EP, as the organization that has played a very active role in the kind of like training the trainers and building the ecosystem builders. What's your take on this? And I would love to hear more from your point of view about some best practices of Swiss EP that can be applied further to develop Da Nang's position in ASEAN tech landscape.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with Đức Anh and Ms. Chris about capital and builder. But one more thing, we agree that Da Nang have a talent pool. We have 44,000 people working in digital economy, and 22,000 is software engineer, so a very good foundation. But the gap here is how to transform from tech talent into like a visionary founder. It's critical. So you know how to solve problem, but the first thing is where the opportunity when you see the problem there. So this open the opportunity for startup support organization like Business Incubator and Start Sweet EP. We are here to focus on 3 pillars. The first one is fostering like an entrepreneurial ecosystem, where we support for enhance the capability of acceleration program, venture also. And the second one, we have a capital mobilization, how to increase the investment in this field. And the third one is the international program, how to help the founder have a global mindset. so that rather than to just focus on the local market, they do the global mindset first. Thank you.
Thank you for your sharing. I understand that like Hillside Global is an organization that supports and help business to expand regionally and globally. So looking at the businesses in Da Nang, how do you think that Hillside Global can be more active in supporting them to compete on a regional and global scale?
Yeah, okay, thank you. I guess for me, my perspective is like that. For CUSA, we do a lot of market entry expansion, supporting foreign innovations to land in strategic locations, example like Vietnam and so on. And very honestly, Da Nang is probably one of the last places I would have thought of, maybe about a year ago. And I guess Da Nang came into the picture because Mr. An made his trip to Singapore actually last year. And then he visited Kilsa, he visited Draper, and we suddenly, got to know, oh, this is Da Nang, right? What are their unique values? What are their unique proposition? And it sort of kindled the spirit in the sense where we felt, hey, Da Nang is actually a good location because you have resources, you have companies that are of certain quality, right, that we could look at. So I think for us, when we even think about market entry or trying to bring companies into a new target market, the focus is on local team, all right? And local team meaning for international companies that come into the country, after a couple of days, you move on to another country and so on. You don't have people to follow through. You don't have people to build the rapport, to understand the founders, understand the team, understand the culture and all these things. And that is where we emphasize a lot of having a local team in a target market to follow through the activities, to cultivate, to build the relationship. And after which, when the actual founding team lands in example like Da Nang, there is continuity, there is ability for them to do more business. All right, so I think the exposure, I think the fact that the government is also, doing their part to go overseas to engage with both the private, the public companies, that actually makes a huge difference.
Right. So the exposure to the regional and global market is very important. So we have April here coming from the Philippines, and she has had experiences working all over ASEAN. So could you share some examples of other cities in ASEAN that have successfully positioned themselves as tech hubs, and what can Da Nang learn from them?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question in the context of Da Nang not being, let's say, the capital city. And you mentioned I'm from the Philippines, but I'm also from a city called Cebu, which is quite similar, like the second city, not the capital, but also very central, but also still a business hub. So before I also talk about the experience for myself in the Philippines, I think other cities that have shown examples or at least strengthening, right, their own ecosystem development as, let's say, a second-tier city would be like in Malaysia, you have Penang, right, and Bandung in Indonesia. And of course, we already heard about talent, we already heard about capital and these elements that are crucial in ecosystem development, but also pointing out in terms of regulation and policy, I think having good backing from like government agencies, and I think also in Penang and in Bandung, I think even on the local level, right? The local government, they have their own business or economic objectives, and they see that the startups have a big role in contributing to those economic objectives. So I think that allows more support and of course, there's confidence also from other businesses to support startups. So I think that's important. In the Philippines, for example, in Cebu in particular, our advantage, Cebu has been known for outsourcing. So that is our strength. So outsourcing, we have tech talent also working with US, Europe, Australian unicorns or big startups, but they're behind the scenes. But those talents get to know how things work. They actually build like world-class startups or applications or softwares. So hopefully what they learn from there is something that they can bring and perhaps like you mentioned, building the founder or the builder mindset. They just don't want to work for a company, but they would also become entrepreneurs and have startups as well. So I think that there are some similar elements there that Da Nang could also have, especially with the schools, the graduates, and the talent pool, and now, of course, with the support of the government and the policy to push this forward.
And so for TY, from your investment experience all over Southeast Asia and Asia, what factors do you consider most important when investing in like early stage tech startups in Southeast Asia, and especially in like emerging ecosystem like Da Nang? Is there any difference in the way that you evaluate startups here compared to like more developed markets like Singapore or Indonesia?
Okay, so to preface this, right, we are very agnostic about where the startups are from, right? I really don't care, right? Similarly, in terms of the team makeup, whether it's gender, like it's not really a key consideration. The biggest consideration is whether your product has a significant improvement over whatever's in the market, and that you have a big enough market to go after, at least in this region. Now, for Da Nang, I think the question has been thrown around quite a fair bit, like what can Da Nang do, how can it grow, right? And perhaps I could frame it in a way that's a bit different. So given that I'm not agnostic about where it comes from, right, the city could think how it could best serve Vietnam. So we've heard a lot about talent being a big piece, having great talent serve, whether it's Vietnam, whether it's serving Southeast Asia, or whether serving the world at large. That attracts a lot of opportunity, right? And that in turn will attract founders who are looking for talent. Now, we all understand talent has price points, right? And you need to have people who are very well paid, who are also based here, to be a beacon of hope, to show a way forward for everyone else to say, I can get good as well, right? I can draw, you know, if a fresh graduate in Silicon Valley draws 100,000 US dollars a year plus options, I can do something close to that here. And that would really drive a lot more teams coming to set up, a lot more companies to set up teams here. That would really drive a lot of local within Da Nang who see, hey, I could possibly start something as well, right? And compete with these people for the market in Southeast Asia, for the market globally. Right? I think that's one way to really go about it, rather than saying, oh, you know, we have talent and, you know, they're maybe cheaper than other places, you know, it's a nice place to live. Nice options, but honestly, it's at the end of the day, how much can I progress as a single person? What opportunities do I have? And then everything goes from there.
For all the panelists, how can Da Nang leverage its unique strengths and resources to differentiate itself as premier destination for tech startups in ASEAN? So we talk a lot about the resources that the city has. We talk about what is needed for it to make it there. So how do we combine these two? So this is where we're at, and this is where we want to go. How do we get there? How do we leverage what we are having right now to get to the point of where we want to reach to, where we want to, the new heights that we want to bring Da Nang to?
Okay, since I went last, I'll try to go first, right? So I think the one of the things, possibly the very first thing you could try to do is really highlight and showcase the greatest talents you have here, right? And show how they are comparable to the top talent around the world. Show that they chose to be here, right? Beyond how wonderful the air is and how quiet the streets are, because there's no like honking, which is amazing. I loved it so much. When I landed, there's no honking, right? The streets are clear, there's a beautiful beach. Beyond that, like just what kind of life can you build for yourself and how amazing these guys are, and they chose to be here. So you can be here too, right? Everybody will start following suit.
I just wanted to build on what has just been said. I think having that international influx as well, because of the tourism advantage in Da Nang, if you can also attract the entrepreneurial nomads or even other businesses in the tech industry or just in general to invest and actually come here. Because I think in any ecosystem, I mean, in Singapore, that's how it is, right? Everybody goes there regardless of which country they're from, but they're the best at what they do and they want to be in a certain density in a certain place. And that actually allows more growth, more learning, more exchange, and value being created. So I think there could be that unique position that there's already, you don't need to sell Da Nang on the tourism side, but like, okay, bring a bunch of like really great builders or really brilliant, developers or entrepreneurs, or even bringing in, let's say, the problems. I think earlier in the panel, it was about purpose-driven communities or founders looking at addressing certain challenges. So you can bring everyone who wants to solve, I don't know, agriculture or something, a particular, challenge, and they can all try to solve the problem, I don't know, something like this, but it attracts a certain density of people and hopefully capital as well in one place. And I think no one will say no to coming over to Da Nang.
I think, like one of the things that you play, let's say you play your weaknesses to make it become your strength. Da Nang actually, let's say, kind of behind Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi in terms of, like focus and attention and everything. But I think it's a strength because, if project, for example, I would say the Sandbox, for me, I think Da Nang is a very strategic location because I don't want to be over compete in other city. I would like to, even, like when we try to build community, when we try to have more builder, we also have cost per acquisition as well. So we want, so let's say, put Da Nang as a hungry city because kids here are good, youngsters are good, but they don't have enough food to consume in terms of career and opportunity. Give it to them, that's number one. And number two, this for on Đức Anh and maybe the government of Da Nang a little bit. Choose a few company that anchor your city, and you have it. You have it in Da Nang. You have Ubisoft. Ubisoft actually have a studio and a big team here in Da Nang. The Sandbox can be one as well. Once these big guy coming in, create a lot of activities, and like TY mentioned, right? It's all about the story that Silicon Valley has sold for the past 40 years. You come here, you have great people, great government. It's all about portray that activities into a story. People will come to the city, people will come here and work because of that story. I think painting that story is more important because all of the elements are already on the ground. You have Ubisoft, you have partner, you have government, you have Davos here. It's all about putting it together and sell that story.
Thank you, Tris. On the option, opinion already share. I just share that. I'm very thank you for everyone to join. If we have a more like Chris, more Dũng, more Huff, and more Chang, and you guys here, so we can make Da Nang reach the goal that they want to become. Thank you.
You and Đức Anh. Okay, Sean can go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So maybe for me, I feel like I think everything is connecting the dots, right? In terms of where the government, the startups, the investors, everything is coming together. But maybe what I see lacking is the larger corporates, the anchor corporates, to provide perhaps problem statements, right? And with problem statements and paid POCs, for example, people can come, people can test out the technology because Da Nang itself is a very friendly place, and you don't have to compete with the mass itself. So what I see perhaps could be of value is to look into larger enterprises issuing problem statements, creating that open innovation to invite more global players to come in, startups to test it out and so on. Yep, thank you.
So I think I agree with your comment or suggestion. So in my opinion, from the government, and as Mr. Jameson mentioned this morning, the role the role of the government to build the startup ecosystem is very important. So with us, I think that the policy or the regulation or the law is very important. So in fact, when we develop the startup ecosystem, it means that Da Nang had to compete the regulation or the policy with other city or other country in the ASEAN, for example, Singapore or other city. So that is why from our the mission, we had to submit and build more the incentive policy, how to attract more the talent, more the good people or the good project or the unicorn to come here, and not beside with the talent here. Yes, I think that. Yeah.
So from your sharing, I can really boil it down to 4 main follow-up actions. First thing is build the talent pipeline. Second is change the narrative, put yourself out there, put Da Nang out there through stories, through media. Third one is have better corporate innovation program in collaboration with big enterprises. And the fourth one is regulations from the government. So this is one last question, and only for Anh Đức Anh, because I want Anh Đức Anh to have some last words. What is your vision for Da Nang in the next 5 to 10 years? And you can share this in Vietnamese, because I know that that's the language coming from the heart. So
I think the vision of Da Nang is that is the vision of all our startup ecosystem, and we are the concentrate or the vision or the dream of all our stakeholders. So I imagine that Da Nang maybe about 10 years will become the Asia innovation hub, where the talent people or the VC or everything can come here. And we are encouraged not only the people in the Da Nang startup, but also we welcome all the talent around the world to come here, like the Singapore or like the Hong Kong or like Dubai. That is our dream. Yes.
thank you, Anh. And I think that the dream that you just shared is also the dream that we all of us here hope to achieve. And Davas is a testament of the very first step towards that shared goal. So this is a milestone to celebrate. And thank you all the panelists for being here, everyone in the audience for your attention. And yeah, that's the end of Davas. I'll pass it back to our MC to